Welcome. Thank you for your time today as you have committed to watching this video, which captures our global conversation about peace, which originally aired on July 28th, 2021. Many of you requested that we release this video because you were unable to join us at the time of the original event. Feel free to view this video on your own, or if you choose, with others that you've invited to join you in a conversation about peace. To make the best use of this opportunity, you can follow these 4 straightforward steps. Step number 1, watch the Global Conversation About Peace video number 1. Step 2, after viewing the video, use our self-guided reflections on peace document to capture your thoughts. And the link to the document can be found below. You can use this document on your own as well, or again, if you choose, discuss the topics with your family, your friends, or with your club or community. Step number 3. Watch the Global Conversation About Peace video number 2 before going on to step number 4 on the self-guided reflections document. We look forward to having you with us on August 21st for part 2 of our global conversation about peace.
Welcome to our global conversation about peace. It's the first of a series of conversations and opportunities to share our commitment to fostering a spirit of understanding among the peoples of the world. It's a beginning where we begin one person, one family, one community at a time. So thank you for making time for this global conversation. Thank you for making a conversation about peace a priority in your schedule and in your life. Today, we are not here to discuss political peace or the absence of war. We invite you to discuss how each of us can contribute to peace one community at a time. And so perhaps we need to say, what is peace? We know that the definition of peace has evolved to what may be a more realistic perspective on quality of life. Do we live in a community, in a society in which we can leave our homes and not fear for our lives? Do we have security? Or are we threatened? Can we be at peace in our communities where we volunteer, work, live, and where we seek to achieve our potential as equal partners in this human race? Are we equal partners? Are we marginalized or restricted by unjust barriers? Are we unknowingly or inadvertently creating the barriers or the restrictions that harm or limit others? Reflect upon your quality of life for a moment. Is your day filled with peace or distress? Equity or inequity? Inclusion or exclusion? These are terms that describe truly our relationships with others, our relationships. I know you might have thought we were going to dive into the relationships of one sovereign nation with another sovereign nation, but we're not here for the political discussion today. We're here to talk about our relationships with each other, perhaps at work, perhaps in our civil societies, or our extended families. But regardless of the location, peace or distress are the products of our relationships, the product of how we connect with each other, the product of our day-to-day treatment of those around us in relationship with us. That means that we, you and I, as individuals and as families and as communities, we can have an impact. We can strive for more peaceful family relationships, community relationships. We can build peace because we can change our relationships to create environments of peace and harmony rather than distress and disharmony. We can do this. We can not only begin by discussing peace and harmony now in this session, discussing inclusion and equity, but we can also create peace and harmony by taking action. We can support each other. We can do this now, and we can prepare to make a difference, one community at a time, on September 21st, on the International Day of Peace. But when we make this commitment, we also have to accept responsibility for doing each day that which we can do to create this world, this environment, the family, the community in which we want to live and in which we want our children to live. Now, I would like to set the stage by asking you to think about what it might mean to be a messenger of peace. And let's do that by sharing a very short video, Messenger of Peace.
Education is a right of every child, and especially for girls, this right should not be neglected.
We have all heard the story of Malala, who certainly is a messenger of peace and has set forth her concerns for equity, for inclusion, in her case, for girls and women, but truly for all people. You know, and is that something that each of us can say, that we have focused on building a peaceful, inclusive world by acknowledging diversity, whether it's gender diversity, religious diversity, social economic diversity. When we think about all the ways that our world is often divided and segmented, how do we bring all of our peoples of the world, our one human race, back together to work together in a spirit of harmony? Because I am pleased to tell you, we are not alone in this movement, nor do we have to achieve the international recognition or the status of someone such as Malala. True, having recognized well-known, famous influencers or ambassadors does help a cause, and it can advance a discussion such as the cause of peace. It can help move this agenda forward in our countries and in our communities. But it is the ongoing commitment of citizens, of you and of me, that commitment to connecting that truly creates change. Our focus on peace magnifies the work of champions such as Malala, or perhaps her work magnifies ours. The power of us as a collective, as a group of citizens dedicated to peace and harmony, to a spirit of understanding, is an unstoppable force, especially when we connect, when we build relationships that are healthy and open and inclusive of diversity. Daniel, let's watch our next video.
We live in a connected universe. Nature reveals this to us. Have you ever wondered what the invisible force is that connects schools of fish and birds in flight? Perhaps this is the same force that connects all of humanity. Modern science has proven that this shared force is our collective consciousness, an intelligence that exists within and between us all. Why then is it that we experience division, separation, and isolation? Why is it that despite the truth that we are all connected, we feel so alone? Since the beginning of time, human beings have tapped into this innate wisdom and living intelligence of nature. But how? Through connection. Connection to self, others, the universe, and our love. That is the joy of serving others. Despite our apparent differences, we all desire to feel peace, love, and belonging. Perhaps you have actually experienced this connection, this magical sixth sense and innate superpower within. On September 21st, we invite you to join us at World Peace Day to create a more connected and conscious world, to unify and touch this power that inspires global movements. Artists, influencers, visionaries, culture creators, and everyday people will share their pivotal realizations, the connected moments that have shaped them. We believe we are at the brink of the largest breakthrough humanity has ever seen, a historic shift in human consciousness. Connect Universe is here to inspire the shift from separation to connection, to support you in experiencing more happiness, creativity, and fulfillment through the power of connection, and most importantly, to share this power with others in service for the greater good.
Today, we are so privileged to have joining us, connecting with us on this conversation, a brilliant gentleman who has devoted his life to philanthropic work, much as many of you have. I'm very pleased to welcome to our global conversation about peace, Sam, behind the video you just saw. Tell us about your work, Sam, and about the video that we just saw.
Well, first, I'm so honored to be here, and I just can't say enough about how great the Lions are, what a privilege it is to be here addressing Lions around the world, and having the privilege of having met you, Vice President Patty. You are a beautiful, amazing speaker, tremendous passion, care about people, and it just shines through, and it's just an honor for me to be here. What I will say is that I have had a lot of fun. About age 8, I knew I wanted to do service, and I now realize basically that was probably sent to me by a higher power, and I'm just honored to. I tell everybody I'm sitting in the back of a bus trying to keep up. But I've had a lot of fun. And when you look back over 50 years of service, quite a lot has happened. And I haven't changed a bit. I'm still energetic, enthusiastic, and you can't bat me away with a stick. Our mission is to help create and build a more connected and conscious world, as the video said. And from my viewpoint, I'm honored to be part of a really dramatic, collaborative team. And then how great is it to have the privilege of connecting with other global partners who can make a difference. And all of those of you who are listening to this, we can sit here and talk, but you are the most important. Everybody who's listening to this in your neighborhood, in your community, that's where peace begins. And it begins by going to you beyond what you're a little comfortable to do. You tend to gravitate to the people you know because they share your beliefs. The exciting part of world peace is one-on-one. For you to go somebody who has different beliefs, different culture, different religion, different beliefs, and just go to them and understand that each of us is struggling. No matter how famous or busy, whatever you are, no matter how poor, no matter how rich, people are always struggling. Everybody has their problems and needs. And that is the basis of empathy and compassion for everyone. And that's the message to me that begins world peace. And whoever people that I have such a privilege talking to around, probably someone on every continent and some number of hundreds and hundreds of Lions clubs, what you're doing in your community is the basis of world peace. And it just starts one-on-one. And so for whatever reason, I start playing with numbers. So I always make up big numbers. And then it's fun because then you have to create a system to achieve those numbers. And so what we're saying is if we collaborate and join hands about world peace and building connectedness and making a more conscious world, and if we start focusing less on what divides us and more on what joins us together. So let's think about what joins us together. Like Malala, everybody deserves a quality education. Everybody deserves the opportunity to have a meaningful job and a meaningful economic opportunity. Everybody has the need and desire to have a decent shelter and decent food. That's what it's all about. And we all can share that. So if we share what we want to do and share what everybody wants, that's the basis of peace. So I'm just so happy to be here. And now the thing I'm most happy about is the privilege of introducing Bawa Jain. And I met Bawa Jain probably in 2018, and he is one of the gentlest, most divine people you will ever meet. And with that divinity and sweetness and just heart comes a bunch of titles which he deserves, but he doesn't care about the titles, it's his personality. So Bawa is the president and founder of the Center for Responsible Leadership, but also he's the Secretary General of the World Conference of Religions and Spirituality. So with great humility and just joy, Bawa, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Sam. It's an honor for me to join you all. And Mr. Elkins, Vice President Hill, I haven't had the privilege of meeting you all. But if you are engaged in this work, then I can honestly say that we are kindred souls, kindred spirits. We feel in the same way. I know a little bit about the Lions. Growing up as a young child in India, I was privileged to be part of a Cubs, the children of the Lions. And even as a young child, being the Cubs, we were, because of what the service projects that we are engaged in, we were invited to meet the then Prime Minister of India, Indira Gandhi. So, that was the power of the Lions Club network and how the children are nurtured from an early on into the foundations of giving, of serving, of supporting. So any occasion I have, I will always say, I salute and kudos to the Lions Club that has continued through all this time, through all the turbulations, the trials, but they have stood firm. So when Sam, Sam has a personality which is really so infectious that when he wants something, he's going to make sure he gets it. And he just called me literally, Bawa, you have to be on the call. I said, Sam, he says, no, you have to be on the call. I'm telling you. He won't take no for an answer. So here I am. But, the subject of international peace, I've been involved with the United Nations some 30 years. I served as the Secretary General for the Millennium Summit. And there we created the World Council of Religious Leaders. And of late, I have created the Center for Responsible Leadership. And if you look at all that we are doing, earlier today I was recording for something else. And what all we are seeking is pursuit of peace. Now, what is peace? Each one has a different notion and definition for themselves. But at the core of it, in my opinion, is, first of all, is getting to know one another, understanding the differences amongst each other, learning what is sacred to each other, why it is sacred. So I have a task of all your people with all the Lions clubs internationally. Launch a campaign. He asked each person that within the next 30 days, get to know one other person from another religion, understand from them what is sacred to them, why it is sacred, and understand their culture. I can tell you that soon this will have a ripple effect, and very quickly, this will spread throughout the world just because of the network, the lines that exist. And one may be a small number, but I want to begin small, achievable. There's not tasking you too much. One person a month, that's all I'm asking. Understanding. What will it do? It will build in you the foundations of mutual respect and understanding, of getting to know the other. Because a lot of time, the misunderstandings that we have in our communities, in our societies, is because of our lack of understanding of knowing the other, what is sacred. Make that a task if you can. Second, commit a random act of kindness. Every day of your life, make it a point that today I am going to just randomly, whatever comes, act of kindness. You know what it will do? The moment you give of yourself, because in my opinion, the greatest joy is not in receiving, but in giving. If you give something, the levels of dopamine and serotonin in you will rise up, and it will improve your own health. The inner foundations of peace get built when we are in harmony with our inner self. So bring yourself to that state of just giving, giving, and giving. Sharing, sharing, and sharing. Don't worry about if somebody acknowledges you or says a good word about you. Not important. Ultimately, what is important is between you and the Creator. They know what you're doing. Whether you're recognized here or not important. So I ask you, make a commitment. As we come to the International Day of Peace, launch a global campaign of service. Service of whatever kind. If somebody is hungry, feed them. If somebody is in need of some clothing, provide some food. If somebody is in need of some medical things, provide them. During this pandemic, we have seen how vulnerable we are and how fragile we are as a human community. And we realize that we need each other more than ever before. And Lions, go make it happen. You can be rest assured that the Center for Responsible Leadership, the World Council of Religious Leaders are there for you. The platform is there. Because all we ask in the Center for Responsible Leadership is a definition of responsible leadership, which we do not define. We ask you 3 questions. So I'm saying in closing, ask yourselves these three questions and judge for yourself if you're a responsible leader. Number 1, do you make decisions based on the present or the future? Think about it. Making decisions based on the present or the future. Number 2, are those decisions based on conviction or convenience? And 3, are they constructive or destructive? And then you be the judge. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Fawa. Sam, did you have one other guest with you today that you wanted to acknowledge as we work together?
Well, Judy Otter is our Chief Operating Officer, and she is tireless, imaginative, and just makes things happen. And what a pleasure that is. And the other person I want to just salute to besides yourself is Daniel, who just seems to be a light bulb that won't quit.
Well, Judith, thank you very much for joining us today, and I hope to have a chance to chat with you a bit more in one of our breakout rooms, which are coming up right now. We have just been challenged by Bawa, and he didn't even know that there was going to be a breakout room with a challenge, so I can tell that our paths are running in the same direction. Our first breakout room today is an opportunity for you to be in a smaller group conversation, to share how inclusive your group, whether you want to focus on family, your Lions Club, other groups you belong with, your workplace, your community, but share how inclusive your group or community truly is. Do you represent your community's demographics? You know, do you have a cross section of people from different religious backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, experiences in life, different gender or age demographics? How inclusive is your current situation? Then ask yourself this: how could you build connections that foster that kind of understanding? Thank you, Bawa, for already giving them one answer. How do you promote peace at the community level while you're building those connections, those relationships that are so important? Because as has been said, we build peace by understanding each other and respecting our diversity and being inclusive of it. Now, this first breakout room will last 20 minutes. Once you're there, unmute and nominate someone in the room to be the moderator to keep you on track. Take a screenshot of your group to share on social media if you have everyone's permission. And the topic for discussion in this first breakout room is in the chat box as well, if you want to refer back to it once you've all met in the breakout room. So use this time now to rekindle your commitment and inspiration.